Presenting This is Ryland, starring Alyssa G., Kathleen Wynn, and Megan Smith.
Sometimes I feel like I live in a world that bases everything upon appearance and wealth. Being an outcast feels like you are sick with a highly contagious illness, and everyone avoids all contact with you. Or better yet, I feel like I'm just completely invisible. I've gone to school with some of these people for at least 7 years, and they don't even know my name. I look around and I feel like I do not belong anywhere. Everyone likes to tell me that it will get better, and when we move on to college, none of this will matter. Sometimes I like to think that they are right. Then I realize that it's not going to be. These people will only get older, and they will change, but how much? Will people only acknowledge my existence if I become wealthy or famous? Out of our 12 months in a year, we are in school for 11. Out of our 365 days in a year, we're here for 5 days of the week. How can they not know who I am after a few years? I can't take this anymore.
That was the day that Ryland went home while his mother was at work and took his life away. Ryland was an ordinary student that was not very well off and did not have very many friends. His single mother tried to provide the basic necessities for Ryland, but that was all she could afford. Ryland was a good student that liked to be challenged in school. However, Ryland's biggest challenge was waking up and going to a school that didn't know he existed.
Who's Ryland Pierce?
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
No, who the fuck is that?
No. Who's that?
No, sorry. No.
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
I have no idea.
No.
Who?
Ryland Pierce? Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
No.
No.
Do any of you know who Ryland Pierce is?
No.
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
No.
Is there a question?
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
No. Who? Yeah, Ryan Pierce. Yeah, I've heard that.
No, Ryland Pierce.
Ryan Pierce?
Ryland.
Yeah, I have.
No. Ryland Pierce? No? Are you sure?
Is he an army guy?
No.
Then no.
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
Who?
Ryland Pierce?
No. No.
No.
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
No.
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 No. I don't.
Do you know who Ryland Pierce is?
Thank you all for coming today. I know you're probably wondering why I asked you to come here. I just have a few questions in regards to Ryland. Do any of you know Ryland?
The kid who died?
Yeah.
Did he really commit suicide?
Yes. He passed on to better things.
I never met him, but I've seen him in the hallways. I bet he was a cool kid. Sorry that I never talked to him.
Ryland was my best friend. He was one of the nicest kids that I have ever met. We walked through these halls for 4 years, and nobody has looked back at us twice unless they were going to ask for a favor or push us into the lockers. I bet if you were to ask any one of the other students who Ryland was, they wouldn't know. Ryland and I both hated high school, but we had each other, and now I have no one.
Did you know that Ryland was going to take his own life?
No, I didn't. We always had bigger plans after getting out of this hellhole, but I guess it was too much for him.
What would you say to him now if you could?
Ryland, you'll always be my friend, and I'm sorry that we can't graduate together and make our final walk out of here. I understand, and I forgive you.
I don't know very much about Ryland. What I do know was that he was a really smart kid that would ace all his tests. I sat next to him for a whole semester, and he was so nice to let me copy his math notes that I could go on my phone.
Did you know Ryland's last name?
It started with a P.
Yeah, I did.
Could you give me a hint?
His last name was Pierce.
I knew that. He was a nice guy.
He was one of the nicest people I've ever met. If I needed to borrow a pencil, he was there to lend me one. If I needed someone to talk to, he was always there for me. I have never met anybody so kind and selfless. It's a shame that he's not here anymore.
Is it true that he had a crush on you?
I don't know. I never heard about that before.
So, of you four, only 2 of you knew Ryland, and only 1 of you knew him on a personal level. Do you think this death could have been avoided? Is there anything you would change? You guys have just lost a fellow student, and rather than mourning his loss, you're questioning who he is? Someone who went to school with you for at least 7 years. Do you feel guilty for being part of the reason that Ryland killed himself?
No offense, but I do not feel as if you have any right to blame others, such as myself, for Ryland's death. I understand that high school can be a
You
hard
have no
place.
idea how hard high school can be. People don't notice others like me and Rylan. I wake up and dread going to school. You people.
You have no idea who I am. How can you say that we, as a student body, are the ones that are making your life miserable and not worth living? It's not as if I'm intentionally trying to ruin your life. People may be so consumed with themselves and their own problems that they can't keep tabs on everyone else's problems. How can you blame them? We're all trying to survive.
I barely knew Ryland, and neither did the rest of these people, so how come...
That's exactly my point. Have you guys ever tried to talk to Rylan and me, or in the past 7 years, other than to ask for our homework help, or to pick something up for you that you have dropped?
It's a two-way street. How do you know I've never tried to talk to Ryland about his day or his life?
Well, have you? In all honesty, you may have asked, but do you really even care? What's the point of asking someone how they are if you don't care about them whatsoever?
I knew who Ryland was. He was a great friend. If I ever needed someone to talk to, he was always there. He never tried to get my attention in a crude manner, but rather he would ask politely. Sometimes I wonder why we weren't better friends, or why people wouldn't befriend a great guy like him. I know that it was his choice to take his life away, but I do feel partly responsible. If I had just tried to talk to him more, or helped him in his time of need, I firmly believe things could have changed. So I ask of all of you guys, can you please think of someone you've seen around school but have never talked to? Please, from the bottom of my heart, try to befriend them.
But it's harder than that, Haley. It really is.
But why make it hard?
It's just naturally hard. We hang out with our group of friends because we feel most comfortable with them.
We have to change. No more waiting for others to change it. So to answer your question, yes, I do feel partly responsible for Ryland's death, but I will make a change in this world for him and for others like him.
Alright, that's all the time we have, so if any of you have anything to say to Ryland personally, you can outside.
Yeah, actually, I would.
Okay, so anything you want to say to Ryland, you can say it now.
Ryland, I now mean what I said earlier. You do seem like a cool kid, and I do wish I talked to you more. Rest in peace, Ryland.
I'm sorry for what I said earlier about who should be blamed. I know that in actuality it was part of the problem. I'm also sorry for taking advantage of your kindness.
I really want to be mad at you, Ryland. I want to ask you what you were thinking and why you would take away your life so soon and so early. However, I really just want you to come back and talk to me about what was going on so I could help you. I'll miss you, Ryland.
Ryland, you're my best friend. You'll always be my best friend. Sometimes I feel like you were the only person that understood how I felt about high school. Thank you for being my friend.